Boring. My wife and daughter went to the sea. I don't know what to do. I thought I'd play a video game. My mother-in-law is here. Son-in-law, are you bored or hungry? I brought you some food. She leaned over to the back, and the view was so breathtaking. She straightened up, caught my gaze, and grinned. Licked her lips, shook her hair, and I looked at her with fresh eyes. And the cleavage, like it was big on purpose. What's that piece of paper you have there? And again, she bent over. I couldn't take it anymore. I got very hot. I went to get my mother-in-law. Anyway, it was hot. What a figure she has. Lush, appetizing. I'd never noticed before. But she provoked me on purpose. She bent over so much to pick up something from the floor that I couldn't stand it, and we tested the table for strength once again. I don't know how I'm going to remember my mother-in-law and I rocking out. I never did that with my wife. After that, she left. Barely left. I gave her a good thrashing. I haven't heard a word from her in days. She can't seem to recover from the fun we had. I was beginning to forget everything. A moment of weakness, played out and forgotten. That's what happened. My wife and daughter still at sea. I was with a bunch of me playing computer games, not with much joy. And then my mother-in-law appeared in a light sundress, which so tightened her figure that I got dizzy. Her hair was styled, her makeup was bright. She emphasized her full lips with lipstick. It was obvious why she was here. The previous meeting wasn't enough for her. Still, I'm always on standby. I grabbed her and led her into the room. I didn't let her go for a long time. She didn't mind it at all. Amazingly, the bed held up. My mother-in-law could hardly stay on her feet. She should have thought of the consequences when she met the young man. I smirked. She obviously appreciated my fervor and restraint. She quickly freshened up, fixing her makeup. Despite this, she treated me to a delightful lunch. She was grateful for the pleasure I had given her. I dined heartily. What a good woman, skilled in the culinary arts, with a delightful figure and radiating passion. She was busy at the sink washing dishes, moving back and forth so quickly that while admiring her, I inadvertently knocked over a plate. Though I didn't burn myself, she grumbled, fussing, scolding me. Go to the shower quickly, son-in-law. The food was hot, no matter how burned. And she directed me to the bathroom. I didn't realize how I ended up in the shower. She was so excited that the straps of her sundress slipped off her shoulders as she pushed me into the shower. And she joined me. I was shocked. I don't know how she managed not to slip in the tub. I maneuvered around her, but she was greedy. She was twisting back and forth, looking back and forth. It was all the same to her. However, I am a young, passionate man, eager to experiment. I demand so much more. You can't demand that much from your spouse, and she's not inclined to do so. She is restrained in that regard. I don't appreciate that. And when it comes to my mother-in-law, our conversations take a different turn, or rather, there is no time to talk at all. A few days later, my wife and daughter arrived, and I'm thinking more and more about my mother-in-law's appearance. She has a voluptuous figure, soft skin, seductive lips, and beautiful hair. She looks surprisingly good for her age. As soon as I enter the room, memories come flooding back at me. The same goes for the bathroom. I can't even get a proper snack. I'm reminded of how that kitchen table tested my strength. Perhaps I should consider buying a new table, or I might get too thin. I'll have to retire to my room to eat. In the evening, my wife starts hitting on me. Well, it goes like this. Often, older people have more experience and attractive looks. However, I will fulfill my duties as a husband so that my wife will not suspect anything or take offense. She's still tense. What more does she want? She claims there is no passion. That's a little strange. But I got angry and showed her so much power that she couldn't come to her senses afterward, barely catching her breath. She asked for it, but I kept imagining it. That's where all the passion lies. I must find a way for my wife to achieve the same figure. Maybe I should feed her more or something, and I must teach her everything. Then she'll be satisfied. She's so thin by nature. I should nurture her, and she'll have passion and everything in the world. She'll stop nagging, and maybe she'll forget her modesty. I've met my mother-in-law a couple more times. Through her daughter, she gave me an invitation to visit her house. She expressed her wish that I would come to her house and help her with chores, such as hanging a shelf or cleaning the pipes. Naturally, my wife consented. Today, I was to come over and do all the necessary work. I eagerly went to see her, overflowing with joy. To my satisfaction, the pipes were cleaned and everything was successfully hung without any damage. She fulfills all my wishes without any censure, as she is an amateur who agrees to any of my suggestions. On the other hand, my wife just wrinkles her face and questions my actions. Nevertheless, it is necessary to carefully train and guide my wife, or things may get out of hand. I believe she will be happy in the end. I just need to make sure that she takes care of her figure so that there is something to admire and hold on to. By the way, my mother-in-law always cooks delicious meals. All in all, I really enjoy spending time with her, and I feel a strong connection. She fuels me in every sense. A week later, my mother-in-law herself came over when my family wasn't home. She had bought a new phone and claimed she couldn't figure it out on her own. We sat down at the table to examine the phone. As she moved and adjusted the phone, her cleavage would periodically open up, and I had a hard time holding back. However, I made a conscious decision not to give in to temptation. I guess we'll see what she does next. Suddenly, she leaned over and involuntarily pressed herself against me, biting her lips and provoking my emotions. I couldn't resist any longer, and right there on the couch, we passionately engaged in a hot affair. It took us some time to calm down, and we were almost caught by my wife, who almost caught us doing it. My mother-in-law and I lost track of time as we chatted, but luckily, she heard the key turn in the door. We hurried to get cleaned up. My mother-in-law fixed her hair and put on lipstick. We sat by the phone, trying to act casual. My wife was completely unaware. Later that evening, I drove my mother-in-law home, and in the car, we said a proper goodbye. She is quite attractive. My wife noticed that I was acting strangely, but I assured her that I was just in a good mood. She doesn't know how much of an influence my mother-in-law has on me. We even thoroughly checked the furniture, bathroom, and toilet in her apartment. I can't help but admire my mother-in-law's beauty and appearance. I close my eyes and instantly visualize her. blood rushes from my head to another part of my body, releasing tension with my wife afterward, anticipating the meeting of our souls, fulfilling marital duties to ensure my wife's happiness, avoiding constant complaining. If the wife is unwilling to change, she should not voice her grievances. I want a simple woman, unadorned, who agrees to any proposition, to make the blood rush immediately to another place, and to be as insatiable as I am. I will educate my wife in practice. I'll take this opportunity while my daughter visits my parents. Perhaps my wife will finally understand my true desires. At the same time, I will convey to her that obsessive dieting and endless weight loss is unnecessary. I want a voluptuous figure, not just bone.